You guys know Harley Benton, right? What's up, guys? Something different today. I wanted to talk about the Harley Benton 25th anniversary models and tell you a little bit about the experiences I've made with them in the last year. I've got two models here, the Telecaster and the Stratocaster. And first up, I've got to say, they're great guitars. Absolute bang for the buck. Are they perfect? Of course not. For those who don't know, last year Harley Benton released a special line of 25th anniversary models, and all of them are absolutely gorgeous. They all come with stainless steel frets, this absolutely beautiful matte gold fire mist finish, super smooth satin necks, and yeah, they're great guitars overall. There's only one issue I can talk about when it comes to the Telecaster, and that is the skunk stripe in the back here of the neck. It was fine for the most part, but as the winter came and the temperatures decreased, it got a bit colder, the wood started working. You know, it contracted and expanded again. And now there's a pretty noticeable edge here between the two parts of the wood. Yeah, right here, where the skunk stripe meets the rest of the neck. It's nothing too bad. It doesn't really affect playability all that much. But it's there, and it's noticeable. But that's only for the Telecaster though. On the Strat, everything's fine. Neck still feels just as smooth as the day I got it. And it plays absolutely great. So yeah, that's the only real issue I've got with the Telecaster. As you can tell, I've made quite a few modifications to the Stratocaster over here. We'll talk about that later. Let's start with the Telecaster. I've only made one modification to this guitar, besides adding strap locks, which I do on every guitar. And that is installing a four-way switch. What we have here is, you know, your classic 3 positions, bridge pickup. Neck pickup, and your classic middle position with both pickups running in parallel. With the four-way switch, there is now one additional sound option, and that is to run both pickups in series, so the way a regular humbucker would be wired. And I totally love this option for lead playing. The pickups on this guitar sound absolutely great. Especially the bridge pickup surprised me quite a lot. It's not as thin and twangy as I expected, but rather quite mid-focused and tight. It sounds really great. Especially if you add a bit of gain, it really opens up. This guitar is definitely more on the rock side of things when it comes to Telecasters. Not really your classical, super bright, twangy country Telecaster, but great for heavy rock, heavy metal. I've played lots of different things on this guitar and it's super versatile. The hardware on this guitar is absolutely flawless. There's no issues here whatsoever. Tuners are great, stay in tune. They all come with locking tuners, by the way. Harley Benton branded. Work just fine, no issue here. The bridge is super great. Intonation is fine. No problem here, everything sounds great. No sharp edges anywhere where the strings could get caught up on. It's great. I really can't complain about this guitar. The Stratocaster is a whole different story though, sadly. Starting with the pickups, they didn't sound bad, but I just found them to be a bit lackluster. They didn't really have a lot of character. Again, not terrible, totally usable, but nothing special. I did install Fender Tex-Mex pickups in the neck and middle position and added a Seymour Duncan JB Jr. in the bridge. This totally changed the sound of this guitar. It's really great now. The single coils sound super dirty if you want them to. Bridge pickups, just your regular Seymour Duncan humbucker. Nothing to complain about here. Sounds really great with some high gain. There was a slight issue here when it came to swapping out the electronics, because as you can see, this pickguard's black, this one's white. This one came with a white pickguard as well, but I ordered the Fender loaded pickguard because for some reason it was actually cheaper than ordering all the parts separately, like the pickup and the electronics, the pots, all that. When switching out the pickguard, I noticed that the holes for the screws didn't quite line up. I had to fill the holes for the original pickguard with dowels and then drill out new holes. Nothing terrible for me. I like modifying my guitars anyway, and I really don't have an issue screwing in new holes, but I know a lot of people do have an issue with that. So if that's you, then sadly I'm afraid you cannot change your pickguard on this guitar. I also swapped out the push-pull pot that was installed in this guitar to split the bridge humbucker for a push-push switch, because as soon as I started playing my hands got sweaty. I just couldn't grab the volume knob tight enough to actually pull it up. My hands would just slip away the entire time, so I just installed a push-push switch instead. One thing I hate about Stratocasters in general is the placement of the volume knob. I just bump into it way too often while I'm playing and then slowly start turning my volume more and more down. Absolutely hate that. Can't get used to it. I moved the volume pot one slot further down to where the first tone pot was, and then used the remaining tone pot just as a master tone for all three pickups. In case you were wondering, the guitar was wired up so that one of the tone pots controlled the neck pickup's tone, the other one controlled the middle pickup. So there's no tone control for the bridge pickup whatsoever. I don't know why they do this. I know other manufacturers sometimes do this. I really don't get it. I'm fine with just having one tone control for all three pickups, so that's what I did. And then I filled the hole where the volume pot originally was with a kill switch, just because I couldn't think of anything else to put there. Now, with all these modifications done to the electronics, the guitar sounds absolutely beautiful. I really love it. Bridge pickup, neck pickup. Fourth position, just the way you'd expect it to sound. It sounds absolutely great now, but of course I had to put in the same amount of money I already paid for the entire guitar just to swap out the entire electronics. No issue for me, I like modifying my guitars, but it's a fairly heavy investment considering the overall value of this guitar. The trem on this guitar also had its fair bit of issues. So what I realized pretty early on was that actually the entire bridge was mounted a bit too close to the neck. So what I had to do was actually plug the holes where the studs were mounted and drill out new holes, just like I did for the pickguard. And now I moved the whole bridge about 2 millimeters further to the back, because I couldn't move the saddle for the low E string far enough back to actually intonate it properly. But now that I moved it back, it's all fine. But sadly, that's not where the issue stopped. The tremolo just wouldn't stay in tune on this guitar no matter what I did. I just couldn't get it to stay in tune. It wouldn't return to an exact 0 position whatsoever. So what did I do? I swapped the whole thing out. I've installed a Goto bridge, and there's no issues with this one. It's absolutely perfect, stays in tune. I can go as crazy as I want, and it always returns to exact pitch. Yeah, as you can tell, it's got quite a bit of range, not quite as much as the Floyd Rose, but it's close, more than enough for the occasional dive bombs. But again, quite a hefty investment considering this entire guitar only cost me $300. I think the tram was about $100, so that's already like a third of the price. But the tuners are exactly the same as on the Telecaster. No issues here, they hold everything in place, strings don't slip, it's all fine. Overall, this guitar, actually both guitars, play absolutely fantastic. I love the satin finish on the necks, feels super great. Stainless steel frets, even after a year, I don't even see the slightest bump whatsoever. They still look factory fresh. They were set up pretty good from the factory. Maybe the action was a bit high, but I like my action a bit on the higher side anyway, so it wasn't too much of an issue. So, would I buy these guitars again? The Telecaster, any day. Absolutely great, no issues here whatsoever. The Strat, probably not. I'm fine with modding my guitars, I like doing that. It's a lot of money compared to the guitar though, probably wouldn't recommend that to anyone. But then again, I might be biased a little bit. I'm a Telecaster guy anyways, I've got like 4 Telecasters here, this is the only Strat I've got. Don't take my word for it. Anyways, that's it. Hope you have a great day and see you next time.